think of your thoughts a bit like an Instagram feed. Okay. And if you're like me, you might just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. They're all your thoughts. Now, when you stop and you pay attention to one and you might like something, well, maybe that's a thought you're action. Maybe that's something you're going to say, oh, I'm going to do that because that's a thought I'm fused with and it's part of my identity. The amount of rubbish on my Instagram feed, a bit like my thoughts, you just keep going. It's not you. It's your thoughts aren't you. So you're right. Okay. So obviously we've not spoken for 2 weeks, is it? That's okay. 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Give me a little update, a little tour of your last 2 weeks in terms of everything running, diet, health, fitness, everything you like.
So, oh, sorry, there's one little bit left to do. Yeah. So, running, it's been okay. I had some nice runs. I did try one today. It didn't go so well, but I think it's just because I hit it a little bit harder in strength training on the weekend. So, sorry, on Tuesday. So today wasn't so good. But generally, yeah, I don't think I've lost weight, which was one of the sort of things that I wanted to do. Um, but I feel less jiggly, so it's probably a good thing.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, so that's going positive, I guess, in a way. Um, been trying to. I think I said this to you last time we spoke. I'm trying to sort of actively um push myself a bit more on the sort of food area. So I think it is harder as opposed to sort of before it was more of a passive process where I was telling myself it's okay, I don't really need to eat any of this. It's not, it's not I mean doing the positive thing where not judging myself, doing all of those things, and then trying to stay away by telling myself that yes, I'm a healthy person. I have healthy habits. I do healthy things. So I think I was doing that, but I was doing it in a more passive way, I guess. I wasn't really pushing myself in any way. But
Okay.
now, yeah, now that I'm sort of not, I'm trying to lose weight now in my mind. So I'm pushing myself, and I feel like it's hard to, um, the negativity creeps in, basically. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm trying to find that balance over there a little bit.
Can you give me an example when you say the negativity creeps in? Can you give me an example?
So like the snacking is the main thing, isn't it? So when I'll have a couple of snacks, I'll be fine. But then say on the third or fourth, I'm like, I'm trying not to eat this. I'm trying to not do this thing. That sort of voice comes back. So it's hard sometimes to to say to myself, I don't want that negativity. I want to do it in that positive way. So,
Yeah. So
yeah,
the voice returns when you maybe have snacked once or twice, and you're
yeah,
kind of going, "I'll just have another one." Is that a fair reflection of what you're saying? And you just then keep going.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then in some days it happens where oh okay fine I've had two, might as well have three, might as well have four, might as well have five. So that starts creeping
I
through.
think I said before. It's what I used to call the Pringle theory, wasn't it? The idea that you can't once you pop, you can't stop, and
Yeah,
that's the tricky thing, isn't it? Trying to stop having too many snacks once you've had one.
yeah,
It's a tricky one. Well, with that, then, like we've said before, there's either the trying to stop starting, I try to stop it before it begins. So that's the distance, the physical distance with the snacks. That's the time distance. So again, like I said before, starting a timer for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. What you can do if you're trying to be a bit more, I'm going to say the word aggressive. Maybe that's not the right term, but the way you're being a bit more positive about this experience rather than passive. Maybe what you could try and do is maybe try and increase that time difference. Let's say you on week one you go, I'm going to put a 2 minute timer. I want a snack. I'm going to put a 2 minute timer. If I still want the snack, I'm going to have the snack. Next week, you try and up that timer to 3 minutes. Then you get to 4 minutes. Then you get to 5 minutes. And the idea is what we're doing here is creating that distance, that time distance, where actually you're not doing it just because habit, because you might actually just be hungry. There is, we have to accept you might be hungry, so therefore you are going to want a snack, and that's fine. Um, then obviously once you have started, if you do start, again, I think when we're talking about this, it's that values thing that I'd like you to kind of hone in on. That I
Yeah.
am a person who's one of my key values, one of my core values in my life is I'm a fit and healthy individual, and therefore I want to my behaviors need to reflect that because that's my value. And I think that's what we want to keep working on. And I think some people find it like um maybe a little bit kind of cheap in a way. It's like, yeah, I know everyone's supposed to say they're happy, everyone's supposed to be fit and healthy, but if it's a core value of yours, the
Yeah.
idea is that you will do everything you can to maintain that core value. And
Hmm.
I think that's what we want to do, really push that core value and say, I am a fit and healthy person. This is my identity. And I want to keep that. And how has that worked for you when you have done that in the past? Because obviously we've tried quite a few different ideas. Has
Yeah.
that been something that has worked or not?
I think it helps. It definitely does. It's I think the consistency of it is what I'm struggling with right now. So some days it goes well. Um, and it's not the same yo-yo that it was before. So it's not that real up and down with it. But it's more, I think I'm pushing myself more. And yeah, I just feel like yeah. So I'll be telling myself that, and a few days ago, well, where I'm telling myself, yes, I'm a healthy person, I have healthy values. You know that bit of it goes well for a few days, but then yeah, I'll still slide back a little bit. But it's not the same dip down. Yeah,
Yeah. But that's
yeah,
okay. Again, that's what we keep saying, isn't it? That's that acceptance part of what we've been talking about. You will. I think it would be strange if you came on the call to me and went, "I've not had a snack for 2 weeks." I'd be a bit like, "Oh, okay. I feel we've gone too far. It's gone too far the other way because
right.
it'd just be too much." I think it's good, and I think you said before that you would become more aware of it. Like you're now more aware of your like thought processes when you're snacking or not snacking. I
Hmm.
consider it a win. I remember you saying, "Oh God, now I'm more aware that I keep doing it."
Yeah,
Awareness is key. We want awareness. Okay, we want
yeah,
awareness. We want openness. You're very open. We've established that. You want to improve. You want to change.
yeah.
And the other thing we have to keep going over is that concept that in your mind you say, I'm going to snack. I want to snack."
Hmm.
That's a thought. That's a thought you are having. That is not a behavior you are doing. Yeah, and I think that is one. It's something that I find everyone finds quite a strange idea. Like your thoughts are not you.
Hmm.
So you can
Hmm.
say you want to have a snack. That
Hmm.
doesn't mean you're going to have a snack because there is things in between the thought and the behavior, and that's those techniques that we've been talking about, like the distancing. Um, Again, you can do all sorts of things, can't you? Like think of your thoughts going along a river on leaves or clouds. See the thought as a cloud; it just passes by.
Hmm.
Um, One technique I was reading about, or I'd say I read about, I was kind of coming up with myself earlier on was think of your thoughts a bit like an Instagram feed. Okay. And if you're like me, you might just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. They're all your thoughts. Now, when you stop and you pay attention to one and you might like something, well, maybe that's a thought you're going to action. Maybe that's something you're going to say, oh, I'm going to do that because that's a thought I'm fused with and it's part of my identity. But the amount of rubbish on my Instagram feed, a bit like my thoughts, you just keep going. It's not you. It's your thoughts aren't you. So that's that kind of quite a difficult concept to get through. And also it takes practice, so much
Yeah.
practice.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, I could see how that would gel with some people.
Yeah, no,
Um,
and it won't roll. Go on.
yeah, yeah. No, so the cloud thing works for me. So yeah, I think I'll do that one. I don't think I've done that very much, so that is definitely worth
The
using.
cloud one's nice. The cloud one's nice, I think, because it's an image you can see in your head anyway. Like if I said to you, imagine some clouds, you can see that now in your head. All you now need to do is attach your thoughts to those clouds. And one thing that I think people sometimes find a bit tricky is they just attach the negative thoughts to the cloud, which makes sense because that is it. But what you kind of want to do is attach most to all of your thoughts to that cloud when you're practicing anyway, because even the good thoughts are just thoughts. And I think that's an area where people find that really tricky, and I find that tricky. If I want to get rid of something off my head, I put it on a cloud or on a leaf along a river. But actually, the positive things I think are also just thoughts. So actually, they're not me either. It's not my behavior. I haven't acted on it. It's just a thought. But again, these are things that take time. So don't want to overload you with too many. If you just do the clouds for now, and you just think, I want a snack. Okay, start my timer. 2 minutes. Put that thought on a cloud. One of the key things of any of this is breathing. take a few deep breaths, see the cloud pass by, the thought passes by, and then we see what the behavior kind of entails. Are you then going to snack or are you not?
Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna do that more for sure.
Yeah, so we do more of the clouds. Just depends what people works for different people. Some people do the thoughts in silly voices, that's like make it sound silly. Sometimes people repeat the thought over and over again because once you repeat it over and over again, it just sounds weird. You know that kind of thing where you say a word over and over again, and people go, "Oh, that doesn't make sense now." So if you say the thought over and over and over again in your head, sometimes people just go, "It just sounds weird now, so I'm not going to do it." All these things. There's lots of different techniques, and what they talk about in ACT is trying to kind of diffuse or unhook your thought from yourself. So what you're trying to imagine, this is your thought, this is yourself. We're just trying to go like this and lift the thought up. That's all we're trying to do. So we're going to try the cloud one. Good. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the way that when you started off describing your last 2 weeks, you started off by saying running, and then you immediately went into diet. That was quite a telling part. So go back to the running for me. So you said you went for a run today.
Yeah. Yeah. So the last weekend was pretty light. It was my birthday.
Oh,
It's
happy
gonna be
birthday.
easy. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I didn't do much running. I think the week before I did a nice 10K. That was pretty good. I think just 6:15 or something, which is all right. I'm pretty happy. Yeah. So that went well. And I did a nice interval as well. So in the week. So yeah, I think I'm happy with the direction of that.
Good. So overall trending, so running trending up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good. Have we got any goal races targeted yet? I know we've spoken about a few. Have we signed up for anything yet?
I was looking for the one you were telling me about, which I think I mentioned as well before. I couldn't find it again, which was the one that's more or less downhill. It's a small elevation.
The So if you go, I think let me just Google it. It's called Brecon to Cardiff.
Brecon to Cardiff. Okay.
And I think I need to remember who is it. Run Walk, yeah, Run Walk Crawl is the
Okay.
name of the company.
Company that does it.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so they've got it's the 1st of March. Don't do well. It's up to you. I wouldn't do the extreme one because that's the one that goes over the blooming mountains.
Right. Okay.
And seems yeah, that seems yeah. Don't do that one. I wouldn't do that one. I'm going to probably do the other one. Uh, so yeah, have it. That's a nice one to do.
Yeah. There's a 50 and a 70. Is that right?
Let me just see. One more cool. Classic. Here we go. Fifth. Says it's 50K, but it's not 50K. It's more than that. The 1st of March, 2026. It's a 43 mile. I can't see any. I can't see a shortened version unless it's a different old website. But that's the one that I did. It is a long way. Oh, there
Okay.
you go. The time limit is 14 hours.
Yeah. I can do that.
But I think from what I remember last time, it was quite a nice inclusive one where there were a lot of people who run walking. There were a lot of people who walked. I think people did just walk the whole thing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
well stocked in terms of I think there's 5 or 6 aid stations. I thought it was really nice. And again, it wasn't too hilly. It's fairly straightforward, fairly local as well. So if that's a nice one, I think if you want to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And always looking for locals. So yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And yeah,
Yeah.
that's the 1st of March. Okay, so that'll be a good one for us to talk about when you kind of a bit closer to the time in terms of
Mm,
training because when in my experience of running various races lengths, the further you go the more mental it is.
mm, yeah.
It's a mental game of how prepared you are mentally, and then when you're in the moment what tactics have you got that will help you get to the next checkpoint, next mile, next kilometer, whatever it might be, because your body will drag you there, but your mind is the thing that can go.
Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting one for us to talk about. Good. So running's going well. Diet. If you were to put a number on it, like how are you feeling? Let's say one is everything's gone to pot, and 10 is it's the best you've ever felt in terms of your food and weight and diet. Where are you putting yourself?
Maybe an 8.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
In my book, eight's great, isn't it? Eight's good. There's always room for improvement. That eight sounds pretty good. I'm gonna write that down in big bold letters. Eight out of 10. Good. Now we just need to finesse it to get to 10.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was mostly cake this week, so I think that I'm allowed that too there.
It's your birthday again. You've got to allow yourself these things, otherwise life isn't worth it, is it? So you got to allow yourself to have these pleasures.
Yeah.
And then I was going to ask you about injury. So how is your injury? Any recurrences? How are you feeling about it in general?
Well, I think I've been a bit lax with the physio, and I'm finding I'm getting little niggles here and there. But it's a case where if I do a run or if I do the exercise, I feel better. But then in the days that I've left it off a little bit, I can feel a little bit. So it's slightly coming back, but it's not bad enough that I'm worried about it. I know what to do to fix it, so I don't see that as a problem at the moment as such.
Okay. And when you said you know what to do with it, you're talking physically in terms of the physio techniques, I suppose. What about the kind of psychological side of the injury? Do you ever give much thought to how you feel about it?
I think I'd probably say I thought about it a lot more previously. So it was that uh, I think I said to you before as well, just a really intense pain that it was really holding me back from the runs. 4 or 5K, I couldn't do anything more than that. And anything more than that, it was just I'd feel that bit of my body just going into a spasm. So that was a big problem then. Now I think I do think about it on off when I feel it, but it's a very temporary thought. It's just that yes, it happens, and then I'm like, I have a solution. I'll do this, and it'll be fine. So it's yeah, it doesn't bother me, doesn't stick around. It's just a thought. I have a solution for it, and it goes away.
It's good. Well, again, that shows you're using that. The thought processes are really good. When we spoke about it before, when you were kind of like deep in that kind of injured state, we spoke about how it impacted your identity. Because I think you remember you were saying something like the idea of you didn't realize how much running was for your stress relief and your life until it was taken away. But again, all we can do now is in terms of preventative is again doing your physio. In terms of the psychological side of it, if it does occur, we use those kind of similar tactics that we do anyway. It's acceptance. It happens. We use goal setting again, so setting those small intermediate goals and process goals. So like rather than saying I'm going to get fit by this date, which is not useful, using the process goal of just saying right, I'm going to each day progress a little bit here and there. And one thing I think I'm not sure we've ever really spoken about, and it's the thing that I did my master's dissertation on is imagery. So we never really touched on imagery much, and it's something that in injury kind of literature, imagery is really important. So the idea of using imagery to help repair damage, which people find quite a hard concept to get their head around, but the concept would be, let's say I tore my hamstring, you would have physical rehabilitation, but the psychological rehabilitation part of that would be things like identity, uh, and kind of relatedness and things like that and competence. But the other part would be using imagery to actually try and strengthen that muscle. So one thing you can do to prevent it, and I do this occasionally, not too much, it's not something I use it a lot, but if I am feeling kind of a little bit like a niggle here or there, you can literally imagine yourself like using weights to strengthen it. So there's some studies where they've done, and again, I read these studies and I'm like, this is incredible. It's always on bicep curls or leg extensions. It's never running based because it's too hard to do. But they get a group of individuals to use imagery to the idea that they actually are imagining themselves doing bicep curls, and then they have a group who are not doing that, and they test their baseline, their strength, and then say 12 weeks later they test them again, and pretty consistently the imagery group do exceed significantly more than the control group. Now, it's not something imagery is not something that you can pick up in like a second. It takes a
Hmm.
while,
Okay.
but that is something that we can work on in the coming weeks. And imagery is really useful because it doesn't have. It's not just image. It's not just injury. You can do
Right.
it. I use it for my running, so I use it for trying to stay calm on the start line. I rehearse different parts of races. So like the fact that I've done that Brecon to Cardiff race, now I know where it gets hard. Sorry to break it to you. There's a whole section that just goes uphill. It was quite hard. Now I know that. What I will do this year is I will use imagery to help me to go through that. But yeah, with the injury stuff, I do think it's something that's worth having a look at. Um, Preventatively, I don't know how useful it would be. You could do it to see if you could strengthen. You could try and imagine it, but it's probably more so if it does reoccur that it might be something that we can look into.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
we haven't really touched it. Go on.
yeah. And also, I was going to say with this imagery thing. So, what was the instruction to these people? Just imagine yourself lifting a weight. That was it, basically.
Oh, you broke up a bit. Then hold on. Try and say
Oh.
that again for me.
So, I was just wondering what the instruction was to these people. Was it this imagine yourself lifting a weight? Is that what they were told?
Yeah, it's yeah. This is the thing. So this is where you get into the weeds a bit. It's much more complex than that. So if I was to do an imagery, so if I take you if I take you through what I did on my dissertation, then I can explain to you what they've done. So in my dissertation, all I did was I got runners to use imagery to imagine themselves at a difficult part of a race, normally a park run they picked, and I got them and I went through like an imagery script with them. So the imagery script tends to start with breathing. It tends to start with deep relaxation, and then you build up the picture. So not just the visual picture, but you start by the visual often. So I might say to them, right, imagine you're on the start line of Cardiff Park Run. What can you see? And they might tell me what they can see. And then we build it up, and I go, right, well, what can you feel? So how did your feet feel against the ground? What's the ground like? Then I might say to you, I might say to them, what can you smell? Might be, is it an autumn day? Can you smell the leaves? Can you smell like deep heat? Can you smell the runners next to you? And you build up this picture. What can you hear? So again, if you're doing Cardiff Park Run, you might be able to hear cars coming over the bridge behind you. You can hear the people getting ready. You can hear someone shouting bike, and you build up this image. Okay, so as nice and strong as you can make it. And then what you try to do with that image is then kind of add the thing that you want to improve on. So let's say I had someone who was anxious at the start of a race. I might say, well, okay, now let's picture you stood there and how are you feeling? And we say you're feeling calm. And we say, you're there and you're taking your deep breaths. And so that builds up. So the idea being that when they're in that position next time, the imagery kind of acts as a blueprint for their memories so that they will feel calmer in the moment. In terms of the studies that I mentioned, a lot of them basically what they do is similar to what I just said, but they give them an imagery script and say, right, go home, sit on the edge of your bed. Let's say we're doing a leg extension. Sit on the edge of your bed, picture yourself in the gym, feel yourself putting that weight on the machine, feel the tension of your hamstring as you slowly lift the weight, feel your hands slightly constricting. In your mind, feel that pressure, feel that motivation, feel that feeling you have that when you're in a gym, you want to try and get the most out of it and extend that leg as far hard as you can. And then you would do that. And let's say you say, let's do 10 reps of three, whatever it was in the study. And they might have to do that 3 times a week for, say, like 12 weeks. And the idea is that, and this is a debatable, there's theories about why this does or doesn't work. Some say the actual muscles do respond in the same way because the mind doesn't know the difference. That's one theory. Other theories say it's just about memory. So the idea is that I've done it so many times that in my memory now, I've reinforced it. So when I come to do it in real life, it's just automatic and quicker. So I have a bit more power. It is not going to turn you into a bodybuilder. You can't. I don't think you can imagine yourself to be a power lifter if you're not training. But there are lots of studies on injury that suggest that imagery can help. Quite interesting. I always thought this stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So that's something I could
But
use for
imagery is
you.
something that we can use.
Mm.
Maybe not at the injury side of it, but we can have a look at if you want and see if we can use it for areas of races that you might find difficult.
Okay.
Would be a nice idea to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else that's cropped up in your mind in the last couple of weeks? Obviously, we've had a couple of weeks hiatus, haven't we?
Yeah. No, not really. Um, no, just thinking, looking forward to having that few days to myself before the my wife is going away, and then I'm going to be by myself for a few days. So just thinking about what I'm going to be doing then, trying to build up some miles before then, so I can go a bit harder in that week.
Nice.
Yeah. But,
Good. So it sounds like you got some plan. So kind of from what we've said today, then I think the key thing, if I look at my notes, is maybe with that snacking and diet, we're going to try and maybe use that cloud idea, the one that seems to be the one that you hooked onto most, I would say. Using that kind of cloud idea, a thought's just a thought. Let the thought go. Put it on that cloud. See, and this is it's imagery again. You can see how this all ties in. You're using imagery of the cloud, of the thought, and imagery is so powerful. Let that thought go. And remember, the key is if it doesn't work,
Mm,
it's not a throw it in the bin. Let's move on. If you can, it's to try again and again because these things take time.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Good. So I think next week maybe what we do is well maybe we try some of this imagery stuff. Maybe we give that a go because we've not really done much on that. So maybe we have a look at trying the relaxation, trying some imagery, and having a go and creating kind of a script. And we can work on it together. And we just I won't we just construct it together to see how it works. So maybe imagery and racing. And again, obviously, we'll recap the week and we'll talk about how the cloud's going, how everything else is going. I think. And how this record is going. Then we can debrief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm just intrigued. On your side, what is it got a percentage in the top left-hand corner?
No, just turn this off.
I've got like 19. It says 99%. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?